I have to start this again. So the meeting is being recorded. This is the third and final advisory committee meeting for the design guidelines and DRP area designation. My name is Ngone Diop. I'm with Baltimore County Department of Planning, and today is January 13, 2021. Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. So in a bit, we'll go to attendance. Today's meeting, I'm gonna share with you the survey results. Then we're gonna discuss the pictures that you have emailed to me, followed by an update by the Department of Economic and Workforce Development, who's gonna give us an update on the type of work that they've been doing with business owners in the study area. And then finally, we're gonna talk about next steps and answer any questions you may have. So members, as I call your name, please unmute yourself and say something. Kelly Carter. Shirley Supik. Mildred Owen. Devon Parks. Aaron Plymouth.
Present.
Thank you. Bill Brooks. Martha Nathanson.
Present.
Thank you. Justin Rosemore. India Artist. Sheila Lewis.
Present.
Thank you. Stephanie Hobman. Pat Duffy. Jamelia Blount. Linda Dorsey Walker. Daniel Winky Smith. Denny Blount. Bishop Barry Chapman. George White.
Present. Yeah.
That was George White.
Yes. Right here.
Thank you. And from the county, from the Office of Community Engagement, is Kirk Mitchell here?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening, Kirk. From the Office of Zoning Review, Jeff Perlow. Jim Herman. From the Department of Public Works, Sam Sneed. Jesse Bilek. Daniel Allen.
Present, this is Daniel Allen.
Thank you, Daniel. And from the Department of Economic and Workforce Development, Jessica Normington.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi.
And from the Department of Planning, we have several staff here: Amy Mante, Christopher Weaver, Myers Mulberger, Brooks Phelps. We have also Josephine Selva Kumar and Jesse Hillman and myself. So last week, I know it was late last week, I sent a survey. I believe it was on the 7th, to be for the steering committee members to participate in. So the survey was 13 questions, and it was to kind of finalize the design guidelines options that we've been discussing so far. And now we are here to share the results. So the first question that was asked was, where do you want to see public art in the shopping center? And many of you answered at the entrance. The second question was, what type of public art would you like to see in the shopping centers? And many of you said freestanding sculpture. And when I say many of you, there were 12 participants total. And for this question, 5 of them answered freestanding sculpture. The third question was to provide up to 3 theme, people, and or events related to the Wendelstein sculpture that should be highlighted in public art. In this graph here, the big text don't have any weight, so they all are the same. It's just the way it was put together. So we have received a lot of ideas for theme, for people or event. In here, you can read Wendelstein community, Wendelstein history, island culture, Harriet Tubman, traditional sculpture, abstract, healthy living, contemporary sculpture, history, remembering the past, cycle of life, Elwood Hendricks, Wendelstein Gateway Park, Liberty Road Business Association, Lenny Moore, African American art, live, laugh, love, enjoy, protect, Charles Christopher Wendell. So the ideas were many. We need to go back and maybe try to summarize these in terms of maybe theme for each shopping center or public art that we can maybe assign to each shopping center. So this might be a task for the future, but the ideas are here. The fourth question was, what type of amenities would you like to see in the shopping centers? Many of you, 7 participants, responded bike racks. 6 responded that they wanted to see electric car parking and charging stations. And then we had 5 who responded that they wanted to see outdoor seating and gathering areas. Question number 5 was to ask, what material or style would you like to see in the MARC coursework? 6 participants answered that they wanted to be brick texture. 4 answered that they wanted to see stone texture. Question number 6, what type of fencing would you like to see in the shopping center? Many of you said that they wanted to see EcoStone fencing, and 4 said wrought iron. And this is an example of EcoStone for you who haven't seen it yet. And the other picture is the wrought iron. So EcoStone, not sure if you are familiar with it, but it's made out of recycled content. It's like its name says, it's eco and it's good for the environment. It kind of lasts longer. It's usually used for residential fencing, but it's always an option if you want to go with like the environment friendly items that we've been talking about. Number 7, how wide should the sidewalk be extended in front of the arcade to allow for beautification and or sitting area? Because I know many of you wanted a wider sidewalk in front of the arcade. The minimum requirement for sidewalk is 5 feet, and the responses that we received, many of you said that they wanted to have more than 5 feet, but they didn't really specify how wide, but they just wanted to be more than 5 feet. Question number 8, where would you like to see large flower planters in the shopping center? So this also has been a topic of discussion where you wanted to see large flower planters all over the shopping centers. But this, if you are not speaking, could you please mute yourself? So I just wanted to have a sense of where the flower planters should be in the shopping center. And many of you have responded that they would like to see it in front of the arcade. Question number 9, So many of you have expressed that you wanted to see gathering spaces with amenities such as tot lot, sitting areas in the shopping center. So the question was, what percentage of the shopping center growth land area should be designated as gathering space? And there was a tie here, 3% and 5% were the responses that we received. Question number 10, this is about the landscaping requirement. So Baltimore County requires a minimum of 7% of landscaping for the parking area for shopping centers that are less than 85,000 square feet. And the question was, what minimum percentage of landscaping would you like to see in the shopping centers? Here again, there was a tie between 10%, 15% and more, and 7%. Right now, we're getting into landscaping. So many of you have expressed you would like to see native plant species in the study area. So we were asking you to specify the types of native plants that you would like to see in the shopping centers. And here again, the bigger text don't mean that this is what they want to see. They all have the same weight, but these are the flowers and grasses that were mentioned. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with.
Can you hear me now?
Who was that?
That's me, Miles.
Sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt. But the larger text there does correspond to more responses on these two for number 11.
Okay, thank you, Miles.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, so they do have a meaning. So most of you answered crepe myrtles and dogwood and boxwood. Is that right, Miles? And then here we were also on the same questions, we were asking to specify the trees and shrubs. And many of you mentioned black-eyed Susan, mums, and petunias. So question number 12, we're getting into lighting. And the question that was asked was, what types of lighting would you like to see in the shopping centers? So as in terms of power source, many of you said that they wanted to see solar alternative. And in terms of light pole finish, you all wanted, many of you wanted to see steel finish. And then finally, the last question was, where should lighting be placed throughout the parking lot?
Bishop Bernie Chapman
has joined the meeting.
And many of you said that they uniformly would like to see lighting throughout the parking lot. Because I know there was a lot of discussion about having lighting, especially like, in disability areas, sitting areas, but uniformly throughout the parking lot, many of you said that that's where they would like to see the lighting plate. So those were the those were the questions that were asked with the survey. Before we move to the pictures, are there any questions, any comments? Yes.
I see that Mildred Owens has her hand raised.
Okay. Yes, Mildred.
I had a question if she's not there.
Could you repeat that again, please?
Hello, this is Sheila Lewis.
Hi, Sheila.
Monique, I don't have a question. It's more a comment about the trees and shrubberies. I just wanted to make mention that whatever trees or shrubbery or flowers you use, that they don't have a real high pollen content, because that could be a real negative factor, affect a lot of people in the spring and early fall. That was my only comment.
Well, I had a comment.
Yes, Ms. Owen.
Excuse me. I had a comment. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think I missed the answers to the first 3 questions. Can you repeat those, please?
The first 3 questions of the survey.
Yes.
Okay, so the first question was, where do you want to see public art in the shopping centers? And the top answers were at the entrance.
Mhm.
What type of public art would you like to see? Freestanding sculpture. And then the third question was the what type of term or event would you like to see highlighted in public art? And here again, I apologize for giving you the wrong information, but Wendelson community, Wendelson history, and African American art were the top term that they wanted to see in shopping centers.
So does that mean the notion of having a public fountain is off the
Mildred Owens.
Is that off?
Has
Go back.
joined the meeting.
Let me go back to the second question. So again, I'm just reading the top answers, but of course, 3 participants said that they wanted to see fountain, and it could be a mix of freestanding sculpture and fountain.
Okay, because I know that like at Hunt Valley and out in Columbia and so some of the places that people really like as shopping districts, they have fountains.
Yes.
I like the idea of a freestanding art piece, but it was only given the choice of either or, and I like fountains, quite frankly.
Right.
Would mean
And then
not have any fountain.
right. And again, with like going with the first questions, asking where do you want it to see the public art, I guess that had a lot to do with, how people answered the second question. Because many of them said that they wanted to see it at the entrance.
Mhm.
And I guess that's the reason why sorry, next question.
Mhm.
The freestanding sculpture will also hear the most the most responses we receive. But again, it could be either or, depending on the location inside the shopping center or at the entrance. And then the third question here, the big ones, the big text are the ones that came at the top with Wendelson community, Wendelson history, and African American art.
Mhm.
Any other comments, questions on the survey results?
Yeah, I had a comment. This is India.
Hi, India.
Hi. 2 things. As far as the greenery, we also need to keep in mind that we look at deer resistant items. And also I wanted to ask, and also the fact that looking at when we look at shrubs, the flowering shrubs and those that are going to be barren during the winter months, keep that in mind too. So, because I know I wrote down evergreen, since we know there'll be greenery year round. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And question, what's the difference in terms of the lighting, the aluminum versus the steel? There's one, because aluminum usually doesn't rust. Steel will rust, won't it? Or is it just, I just want to know the advantages of the steel over the aluminum.
Okay, so these are the finish options that you have out there. I'm not an expert in light pole finish. Unfortunately, I won't be able to answer the question, but I can get the response to you by email to all of you maybe later on.
Right.
Okay.
Or if anybody else know in here, if any of the members know the difference?
Yes, steel will definitely still will definitely erode over time.
Right. That's what I thought.
Aluminum wouldn't.
Right.
Aluminum and fiberglass. That's why
Right.
either one of those would be a better choice.
I think aluminum is a better choice. It really is. In the long
And that
run.
was one of my concerns with some of the questions. If you're not, educated about the product, you wouldn't be able to make a good decision.
Right. Just like with the flowering plants, one of the things I did was specifically look for plants that would be seasonal through at least 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Some of the plants that are written there that have the larger print, they're not seasonal throughout 3 seasons at least, just 1 season.
Yeah. Like crepe myrtles. That's a short period for those, really.
Yeah, good. And it's Jim. One of the things with the aluminum is it offers the brushed aluminum color versus the steel, which a lot of times is painted.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
Any other comment?
Yeah, this is Devon. Do you hear me?
Hi, Devon.
Hi.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I just wanted to follow up with Linda's observation of saying, I think she said she wanted to have a fountain.
In a meeting.
I didn't pick the fountain
In a meeting.
only because I like the idea of having a fountain, but you have to understand this neighborhood and these people. It's unfortunate, but I just didn't want having a fountain and then people in it, or, just, it wouldn't look, we would always have to have somebody like clean it up and stuff. Unless it's like boxed in or catered, or with a fence around it or something. I just didn't want to see any destruction. I mean, if we have such a bad littering problem in Randallstown that I just can't imagine, anywhere else. So that's why I had selected the freestanding sculpture over the fountain, even though the fountain probably would look a whole lot better.
One of the things, though, that I've seen with some fountains, like the fountain that they had pictured there, had beautiful tile work and benches around it, and then the fountain in the center. You can put a cast iron fence around the edge of that fountain.
Okay.
So people don't just go up to it, and it becomes this beautiful thing to see without people defacing it.
Yes, I agree with that. That would probably be a better pick if we were able to work that.
No, I think a combination of both.
True.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, let me ask you, does all the shopping centers have to have the exact same thing? Can there be one major shopping center that has a little more than any other? Like the shopping center where the library is, that's probably the largest location. Can it have like something at the entrance and a fountain?
Mm-hmm.
Again, so these are going to be drafted in the design guidelines, and then it will be, if you happen to have a redevelopment in the study area, one of the shopping center getting redeveloped, then they're going to have to follow, but there will be a document that they could follow in terms of guidelines. So this is just in case there is redevelopment or a new development within the study area, which is from, again, 695 to Greens Lane. And for this one, we are only talking about the 8 shopping centers that are in that study area. So this is not something that they, once it's drafted and finalized, that the shopping centers have to follow. It's only if they have to redevelop in the future.
So right now, the only one that really stands ready and waiting for redevelopment is down there at Rolling Road in Liberty, where the entire shopping center where Ollie's was is shut down.
That one is an option. The one also by Milford Mill Road, I think is ready for development or will be ready for development soon. But yes, it's only for those that are going to go through the redevelopment process or a new development process. But it's good to have the documents set and something for them to follow in the future. So if you agree that standing sculpture and fountain should be part of the design guidelines, we will include those in draft the document so that they have some type of options to choose from.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Any other comment on the survey?
I see Ms. Owens has her hand raised. Is it for the previous one? I'm not sure. I'm just seeing it.
I'm sorry, Josephine, who was that?
Ms. Owens has her hand raised.
Miss Owens, are you here?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I have a new computer and I thought it was set up and it's set up I can see you, but I can't hear you, so I'm on a phone.
Miss Owens?
Yes.
I think I'm hearing you twice for some reason. There is a
Turn off your speakers on your,
A speakerphone.
yeah, turn off the speaker.
Okay, that's what I tried to do. Yeah.
Are you also on the phone?
Yes, I'm on the phone.
Okay, so I
hang
think
your
that's the
phone
reason.
up.
You need to turn off one of them, either the phone or the computer.
Yeah, turn off the computer.
Okay. Okay. How's that?
That's better.
Oh, okay.
And you're back.
I'm sorry. What?
You're back on both now.
Oh, okay. Let me. I'm saying I lose the voice activation, but that's why I changed over because I could see you, but I could
Turn
not
one of the
hear you.
speakers off, Mildred. Turn one of the speakers off on your computer.
Good evening, Councilman.
Hit mute.
Good evening, Gone.
Did that help?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. No, it didn't help, Mildred.
Maybe.
You gotta get off one of them, either the computer or your phone.
Yeah, and take the phone off speakerphone too.
Or just go with it, Mildred. It'll be done before you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just say what you're gonna say at this point.
All right. I'm sorry. What was the question?
Actually, I was asking if there were any more questions or comments on the survey.
Yeah, well, I do have a comment. I wanted to say that a lot of the information that I was hearing from Linda and others, that especially with the landscaping, I didn't hear if you had gone through that part already. But the landscaping, as far as the lighting and all of that, did I miss that, or you haven't gotten to that yet?
I think I already went to all the survey questions, but I can go back to it again.
Okay.
Landscaping, here we were asking what percentage of landscaping you would like to see in the shopping center.
Yes.
Keeping in mind that 7% is the minimum requirement for Baltimore County. And there were a tie, 3 participants say 10%, 3 participants say 15 or more, and then 3 participants say 7%.
Oh, okay. Is there some way we can actually get an idea about how bright those lights are? Because some of them, they look bright, but from the daytime, but you don't really know if it's not out there at night, or even if there are some individual areas where we can go, and the ones that we like, we could go and take a look, and maybe go by there. Maybe people can go by based on their likes of the lights. and see how the brightness is. Because the reason why I'm asking it because around here, the lights look bright, look like you don't have a lot of light. But then when it's night, you don't have it, and so you're fooled by the size, because sometimes the smaller looking lights have more light than the bright the ones that you would think had more light. So that's why that's the part that I'm concerned about, because the darkness in the parking areas.
Yeah, I know that that's been a concern of yours, but a lot of the existing shopping centers in the study area are old. And when either they were developed, they either maybe didn't follow the lighting requirements, or maybe the county have like new lighting requirements. But we have Jim Herman maybe who can speak in terms of lighting. Jim?
Yeah, one of the things, especially if you got an older center that's been around for years and years and years, whenever lights first start, whenever they're first installed, they're the brightest they're going to be. And then over time, they degenerate down and the lights get dimmer and dimmer as they get older. And so I think that's a big part of it. And you'll find that, if you go to the newer shopping centers, newer developments that have lighting, what you'll find is that the lights will tend to be brighter. Also, the difference between the older types of light, sodium vapor, halogen, there's a different hue to it, different colors. And with the new LEDs, they've got a variety of brightnesses and colors as well. So I think what you're seeing whenever you go someplace and you think, man, it's got big poles and big lights, and they're not generating a whole lot of light. I think a lot of it's their old technology and they're old physically. So the life, they're further down in the life cycle, and they just don't generate as much light as they used to.
Well, will that be remedied? I mean, is there something that's going to be done about that to bring them up to par?
Well, I think it in these cases, you're talking about redeveloping a shopping center, and that this will be implemented as part of that redevelopment aspect. And so, if you're going to redevelop, somebody's going to spend a lot of money on a shopping center to redevelop it. Most likely they will come in and put new lighting in as well. So, I mean, if you're redoing a whole center, lighting's probably a big part of it, a big component that would be improved, because along with the lighting comes the safety and visibility at night and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. So will we have an option to say what light, even if they're going to bring it up to par, do we have an option to say which lighting we would like to have in those particular spaces of the shopping center areas?
Gane, you want to kind of...
What do you mean by what type of lighting?
Well, if you have three choices of lighting that I think on the survey they showed like three different types of lighting. Do you get to select the type that you want?
The question with the types were with the power source. Many of you selected solar alternative, and then the other questions were about the light pole finish. What type of material you want the light pole to be, and many responded steel. So we didn't really get into the design, the style of the lighting pole, but mostly the finish and the source and the power.
Right. But didn't we then decide that maybe steel was not the best option?
So again,
I heard that I was on when that was said.
Right.
That aluminum was the best.
again, I'm only going with the responses that we received from the survey.
Okay.
In here, out of the 12 people who took it, 7 responded that they want it steel. So again, I know someone brought up the fact that you maybe need to be educated, like into like the style of the finishes, what is steel versus aluminum, what is the best in order to properly answer this question. But these are the this is the response we got.
Right.
But you said aluminum or steel maybe, and could be an or.
Right. And plus, if you start looking at some of the solar options, they're going to lean toward aluminum and fiberglass, not steel at all.
Okay.
Is that a maintenance problem? Because steel lasts longer, and I hear what you're saying about
it rusts
one versus the other. I know, but I'm saying, what about the durability of it? Does it last 5 years versus steel with 10 years, and you can paint it, or you get the aluminum and you gotta get rid of it and replace it, or it might last 10 years, but it start having to be replaced. That's just a question, that would be in my mind to ask. If I do hear what you're saying. You don't want something rusty, but what's the difference in the time period, and what's the difference in the time period of the wear and tear that the aluminum will have? And that's just something consideration, and maybe if it's going to last you forever, well, I say 20 years. If it's going to last you 20 years, then do you get that, and then just look at someone painting them every so many years, every 5 years, or every like that. If it's going to be there, then you don't have to dig it out of the ground and put something else there.
Okay. Are there any other comments on the survey? Okay, so the next assignment we had was to show us pictures that you like in other places or even in Wendelstown, in terms of architecture, signage, and landscaping. I have received pictures from 2 members, and here they are. Ms. Owen, as I go through the pictures, can you briefly say what you like about them, and maybe say if you know where this picture was or is taken from, maybe we know the location, and briefly what you like about them.
Okay. I'm going to have to pass right now because I'm on my phone. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
And I can come back. What I'll do is I'll get off of the phone and try to get back on.
Okay. So
works.
while you do that, I'll go to Ms. Sheila's pictures. Ms. Sheila, are you available?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Let me get to your pictures. So here they are.
Yeah, on this one, I particularly like the way they had that short stone wall, and I like the way that they had the grass between the sidewalk. And over to the left of the picture where there's a little arrow, you really can't see it, but they have steps there, which I think is really important, because a lot of times what people will do was make their own pathway because they don't allow for pedestrians entering the parking lots, and they would have to walk around, so they would wind up across the grass. And I thought it was very good that when they laid this out with the bushes, which is shielding the parking lot from the street, that they also remember that people need to walk up there, and they put the steps in.
Okay, very good. Next picture.
This is one I also like because I like the way that this sign, which was a replacement, I think maybe about 3 years ago, of the one that was there. Again, the brick matches the storefronts that's in the shopping center. And I also like that they have that large area of where they have that the grass. And I think that's really important to set the parking lots back off of the streets and not be right there on the street. It gives a more attractive appearance, and that's what I like about that.
Very good. Anybody else wants to comment on Miss Sheila's pictures?
Can you go back to some of the earlier pictures you scrolled by?
So those old pictures are Miss Owen's pictures.
That's what I'm talking about. Can you go back?
Can you hear me without the echo?
Yes, I can hear you.
Right there.
Oh,
No, look past it. Keep going back. Keep going forward. That kind of thing right there, and the picture before it is what I was talking about in terms of having you see that with the little brick, and then you have the trees, and you have the planters, and you have
yes.
That's what I was talking about. And it required, I mean, I saw a couple of people put on their survey answer that they wanted a 3-foot sidewalk. How could you ever have this if you had a 3-foot sidewalk or even a 5-foot sidewalk? You have to have at least 10 or more feet to do either this one or the picture behind it. Can you go to the picture behind it again? Yeah, you have to have more space.
Okay, and
well, you can really deal with this because even when they expand the sidewalks, you have to have more space. If you're going to have chairs around, even if you're close to the facility itself, you're going to have more space. Your space does not have to run all the way across, but it's an idea to give you what you can do if the space was maybe closer, just like at some of the other shopping centers or areas where people, it's just like a big long sidewalk. They got cars right in front of them. So you can actually change the idea of the concrete all the way up under, the whole area. It's just an idea. So you get the idea from what you see, and if you push that over toward those doors of the stores, you'll see that it can be done because it's being done now.
Okay, Miss Sheila, I have to apologize for the interruption, but we'll come back to you.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that. And as far as what they were talking about, the flowers and especially up there in front of the Food Line location, because that grass is wide and it's really just grass, that'll be some of the ideal places to put those planters or to put the box, the long flower boxes. Right now it's just grass, but that can be incorporated by putting more flowers and shrubbery there.
There's nothing that prohibits you from doing both of those options, because what Sheila is showing is on the exterior and edges of the shopping center, and then what Mildred is showing is more internal to the shopping center. One doesn't have to cancel out the other.
And Miss Sheila, you're talking about this picture right here, having the planters and the trees along Liberty Road?
Yeah, because not along the road, but on that wide grassy area, it's kind of like a slope. It could be upgraded with some of those other things. Some of the even if you're talking about, I can't remember exactly the parking, but definitely the planters and the flowers and some improvements right in having that, because it's wide enough. And if we can get more shopping centers to give us more space, we can get more design like that.
Okay. Jim, do you have any comment about that?
Well, the one thing I was going to point out is if you go back to the one with the wall, if you go back a couple pictures, I would describe that as form following function.
Mhm.
And I will, whenever you get to it, I will kind of describe it, because it's actually it allows them to take up grade, and the one to the one side, I think it's one more, Gane. Nope, another one. It's the next one, I think it is.
Keep going.
It's that one. Nope, back one. And Gane, bear with me because I'm remote, and so I'm probably a little bit delayed. It's the one that's the parallel narrow planter, and there it is. You see the railing to the right?
Mhm.
I'm reading this as this is a form following function. I think to the left is the ramp, so that gives them handicap accessibility. To the right is a railing, and I would bet that there's stairs there. You can't see them, but what they're doing, the designer actually had to deal with a ramp and some steps. And so that's how that probably came about. And so that's a form following function as part of it. With regards to the perimeter versus the interior, I think a lot of it is actual design.
Mhm.
And I think one thing that we could, I would also mention is that whenever you get into a theme type center, then I think what you see is you've got an architect, you got site designers that come together and they start pulling the components and trying to tie it all systematically together. Whenever you're talking about the light poles and the styles and that kind of stuff, I think whenever you get into that theme that they come up with, that's where all those components start to work and play off of one another, and you can do different things. I think the one with brick, talking about that brick matching the building, I think that's where that stuff all starts to come in from a designer standpoint and kind of gives the whole character, aesthetics, the theme, if you will. And from a designer standpoint, if you got a theme to work with, it makes it the design more interesting, and also allows it to blend and play off of each feature.
Yeah.
The planters and the lights and the retaining walls or the ornamental walls, all that kind of comes together.
Okay, so would you get, you're still talking about having some stone walls, right? Because that's what people voted for.
I'm just, from my standpoint, I'm just talking design features. It can be, whenever you get into a theme, it's, if it's a stone theme, it's stone theme, a brick theme. So I'm trying to give kind of a designer's perspective into how these components come about and how they all tie together. And like the one that I said, form follows function, they had to have something there to break up the stairs and the ramp working together. And that's the same, like we're looking at this entrance now. If there's more of a grade change out front, they may need retaining walls, and the retaining walls, that in front of the Walgreens or the CVS, that wall is there to work from two aspects. It's there to break grade, because the public space is lower than the parking lot. So they put that wall in there, and it could have been a sign at one point in time, but it also works as a retaining wall to take up the grade, and then the sidewalk or the steps are further to the left. And so that's what I mean. The designers get into challenges, if you will, with sites, and they work out solutions to those challenges, and those can be themed. However, and tied together. And I think that's a key. I'm trying to just kind of give you how the pieces come together. It's kind of snapshot from a designer standpoint.
This is Sheila Lewis. I do appreciate your explanation. And those examples are how that was done attractively. There are also examples on Liberty Road. If you go on the Liberty Road, where when they put design, they didn't consider of making that function attractive at all. And that's a good point, because what we would like to see is when these people come up with these designs, when they have to have the function, make it attractive. Just don't say, okay, we've got to do this.
Yeah. But now I'm going to ask this question that I asked at the very first meeting, because going back to that same shopping center that I brought up, the one that's at Rolling Road and Liberty, where for whatever reason, someone made the very, very, very serious mistake of letting a business build right up to the sidewalk, that drive-in restaurant. How are you going to develop the corner, the parameters, and all of that, where you've given a permanent lease to a restaurant to build right up to the sidewalk? That drive-through restaurant, I forget the name of it.
You're talking about the Sonic.
Yes, Sonics. Ugh.
Right. That was the point I was making about the examples that I showed, where they did not allow the development all the way up to the sidewalk. They allowed a wide grassy area that will allow for planters, flowers, just some green space to, in the future, as we go forward, to always make sure that is incorporated rather than having it come all the way up to the sidewalk like you're talking about.
Yes.
Miss Linda, I'm sure they got some type of variance for that, but if they have to follow the regulations, there is a setback required, unless there is some type of variance. We can look into it and see when they got it and how they got it. But with Sheila's point of focusing for the future, this is the reason why it's important for us to set, standards and how we would like to have it in the future as part of the guidelines, so that in the future, even if there is a design guideline, also you have to understand that it's not set in stone, it's not something that they are required to do, and they can always ask for some type of variance to work their way around zoning regulations or guidelines, adopted guidelines. So I would like to move on. Ms. Owen,
Yes.
this is the next question. What do you like about this picture?
It was beautiful. I guess it kind of caught my eye.
Okay.
And then it's something that most of the time it's got to be something beautiful in the shopping center for you to even want to entertain going in there.
Okay.
And this was the type of design that would draw my eyes, and to look farther than just maybe turn away.
Okay. Because the picture was cut off, but it looks like it could be like a fountain,
Yes.
or some type of like focus area with like landscaping around the base.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then we get into signage. This picture is a little bit blurry, but you can see the point.
Yes.
That's-
And
my
this one I really liked because it was tall and big, but it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And it, you gotta have, if you want to sit around, you want to look at things that are beautiful, to draw you there and keep you there for maybe a few hours or something, just kind of hang out in the shopping areas instead of going someplace else. Because when I go someplace else, I'm really going to look for those type of things that I suggested.
Okay.
So you got all this shopping center and nobody's visiting it but the people coming from East Baltimore or somewhere, or coming from, I got to have this right away. Something impromptu, I got to have it now, and you run up to the stores. Other than that, you're traveling miles. You staying right here, and you got 8 shopping centers, and you're not even going to them.
Okay. So in here, you notice the stone signage. You notice the letters
Yes.
of the place directly on the stones, landscaping around, at the bottom.
Yes.
Instead of having the sign sticking up above, up in the air, like
Okay.
one of the other ones. That's not attractive.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, I'm just
So-
trying to get as many details as possible about these pictures that you like,
Yes.
so I can understand it better. And when I draft the plan, make sure that I get all the details. So anybody else, if you notice something in any of the pictures, please don't be shy. So I'll move on. This is another signage.
Like that.
Well, the island part is what I love. I love the islands where the cars are going in on one side and coming out on the other side, and you get, it's like inviting you, come on in, and then you have the beautiful flowers around it.
Okay.
It's an eye catcher. It makes you look farther and want to go in there and see what's going on.
I don't.
Okay.
Fine.
This is next.
Okay, this was similar to the first one. When I looked at this, it was similar to the one just before, the one we just mentioned, for some of the same reasons. And this was right near the island, like an island on one side. There's the cars going in. On this other side, the cars are going in.
Okay.
I mean, going out.
Okay.
So I really like that
Oh,
idea.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I was finished.
Okay.
That's pretty. That sign.
Yeah, and this one I selected for the same thing. This is at Quarry Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason I love going there because this is the entrance when you come off of Greens what is that? Green Spring. When you make that right, you turn right into that. That's what you'll see when you're getting ready to turn into there. And I love the way they have the rock on the road and stone on the road. And you just feel comfortable, and you feel like, if a lot of things to do, you wouldn't mind just standing there and hanging out.
Right.
And people sitting around enjoying each other, just like neighbors. You see them walking walking together, walking around the shopping center for exercise.
Yeah.
And, it's just nice, and you feel free and you feel safe and you feel good, and they have those beautiful scenery with the designs like this.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that too. I think that's the best one for an entryway. And I like what the other lady said as well with an entrance for driving into the shopping center, and then another one driving out instead of it just open.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like how that is set up. This is set up right here because it says the shops, and you can even extend that and to list all the shops or somehow, and that can be the focal point, and have the left side, you enter, and the right side you exit. But that's really nice. I like that.
That's the old idea to list all the shops on the sign. I remember when Ricestown Little Plaza was first built, they had all these different stores listed, and every time something went out of business, you would have a spot there and all. You don't need to put all those different stores there, just the name of the shopping center. As far as I'm concerned, all the stuff we've been talking about for 2 or 3 weeks was unnecessary, because all you need to do is give us Quarry Lakes.
There you go. I know that's right.
That's true.
That's true. You have fountains, you have the lake, you know what it looks like?
Yeah.
That's true.
It looks like at Quarry Lakes. When you
Mhm.
go there, you know what it makes you angry. You know why it makes you angry? And I've said this to other people who've gone there with me. It said, we respected those people in that community when we let this thing be built, and we didn't respect you. We didn't respect your people, but we did respect those people, because that's why we have, as far as I'm concerned, all this discussion of lighting and this, that, and the other, just give us what you allowed to be built there. And then I think Randallstown would be very satisfied.
Yes, I agree. And I like the fresh market too there.
Yeah. I do too. I know
It's really all.
on
It's really
direct
all.
Rockefellers.
It's about appearance. It's just like your front door to your home. You know, you want to have an entrance that makes a statement, and that's exactly what the Quarry Lake does. It makes a statement. I mean, it says it all. I mean, the shops. I mean, just look at it. It looks regal. It looks like a community that is well respected and is inviting. So that's what you want. You want a destination.
Yes.
Thank you. So next picture.
This one, when I looked at it, it was some of the same feeling, you know, when I saw this, and I like the idea of helping everyone that wants to have a business and everything, but some of the shops, like certain ones, like Bed Bath and Beyond, the ones that like that, Home Goods, stores like that. It doesn't have to be everyone. It doesn't have to be a Macy's there and nothing like that. But it should be something well known to you, but I don't want to get too deep into that as far as you know, who's going to be there and what's going to be there. But we should have a say in it, because if you don't put something there that people want to see, and that when they look at it, they feel okay. They see some things that some places they actually know, and they don't feel as though I don't know anything about all these names they have up here, and they just pass them on looking for a place like Dollar Tree or Ross's or TJ Maxx or something to relate to, something that you don't go out of your community to get involved with as far as shopping is concerned.
Okay. I think we need to get back. Let's get back to the design and not discuss the use at this time.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me see the next picture here. We're getting into signage again. Wayfinding. What do you like about this picture?
I liked it because the one when I looked at it, I saw that this was a good idea for having a garage that you don't need a lot of you need just windows and space. So when you come out, you just walk out and you right in to the stores, or you maybe have to walk down to the left to one or the right to the other, and this does not give you access to go to the stores. The only reason why you would be going in there is to park.
Okay. So I like the concept. I'm not sure whether or not, keeping in mind that the shopping centers along Liberty Road are open, not sure if we'll see some type like a concept like this in the future, but who knows? I'm going to the next picture.
And that was the same idea. I was looking for ones that gave me an idea the way the one on where is it? It's not too far from Greens. Well, it's down Rolling Road. Everybody knows Rolling Road, and that community. There's that shopping center there. And it's similar to the ones that I have here. when you come out, you know, everybody can park in there. You do have one way to go, another way to go out. But when you come out, you don't see a lot of big grocery stores and everything. You see banks, maybe 4 or 5 banks together. You see an area where people sitting out on the sidewalk area on with the umbrellas and the chairs, and they just sitting back, relaxed. And it's not you know, like a shopping center on one side, a shopping center on the other side. Right in front of them is a street. You pass it, and then on the other side they might have some shops or something, but it's not. It's accommodating for the people that just want to go up. It's raining. I need someplace to park my car, and most of the space on the sidewalks or area, that's just for people to just sit around and maybe run into one of the stores and get some tea and kind of lollygag with each other and
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
like that.
Okay, very good. Let's see what's next. Is this about the same concept also, the wayfinding?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
the same idea.
Okay, and then it looks like this is the last picture you sent me.
Yes. Well, I like this one. It seemed like it had the same type of space, somewhat, but they had the signs on there. You know, no place to no entrance to shops.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Okay.
one of that. You know, and so that people know, even when they start to go in, well, you can't. You got to come back out. And they had the large windows by the area as you exit. But you know, you had to come and go that way, walk back in and to your car, and walk out to your car. I mean, walk
Yeah.
out to the shops.
Yeah, and I think Towson Town Center has done something similar. This type of concept is good for like, you know, like close more like Towson Town Center. But if we
But
imagine,
this is the one that I'm talking about. It's just as large as this, but it looks like it's part of the building that's next to.
okay.
You know, and it's no big shopping centers there. You know, it's just like the street and the stores in front of the street are the main people that monitor. I mean, that kind of supports it.
Okay. Okay, very good, Miss Sheila Owens. Thank you for sending me all those pictures. Now we getting. Oh no, we're not done yet. I'm sorry.
Oh.
We're getting into the architecture. Sorry.
Okay. Now this, when I looked at this, I said there every corridor from the 695 have hotels, and when we have to send our people over to the next exit. Why don't we have one? We have, we should have one. Some of them have 3, some of them have 6, some of them have all numbers. Anybody come to visit us, we have to actually send them to those other places.
All right. So now we're getting into use again.
Okay.
What about let's see what's next. Okay, what about this one? What do you like about it?
I like it because it had the standards of most people. When they get at a hotel, you're going to be trying to figure out if you're visiting, well, should I go, where should I go, and something to relate to. And I like the design, and I like their setup, and for people to kind of draw people. And plus it gives us more people to have jobs in our community.
Okay, all right, good. Next.
Okay, this was the same concept. This was for a larger family, the Residence Inn. That you, if you needed something like being in a home, you could go there, and it would be a good draw for people and give plenty of jobs.
Okay, good.
This I like because I was thinking about the people with disabilities. and it gives them more freedom of space and space, and the looks are nicer as far as the landscaping and where the parking is, and then the store is just that close, and you know it kind of draws you to the shopping areas too. Because a lot of times people feel safe, and then you can park in front there too. There's an option.
Okay.
This is Sheila Lewis. On that signage where the prior slide where they have the part right there, that isn't it. No, go back to the go forward one. Yes, that's the slide. That is the issue with many of the shopping centers on Liberty Road right now. That parking along the front for disability, it would be extremely helpful because most disability parking is where you see the cars parked, and then someone with a disability, when they're walking across, they might be a lot slower. Some might be in a motorized assisted kind of chair. And cars are coming through, and often, you know, we see it stop, but also it's really not safe. And if we can have those spaces at the front, especially for disabled parking, would be very helpful. And that doesn't happen a lot on centers.
Only one thing, there's an advantage and a disadvantage. My preference is right next to that where you see the sidewalk with the trees, because if you are a business and you work in one of those stores, you have people constantly turning on and off their lights, shining high beam lights into your business. And so that's a consideration that people need to think about. So unless you have trees or a wall or something, you have to deal with that. And I've seen more than one time when the cars went through the plate glass window into the store.
Yeah, that's I'm just talking about as a consideration for people with disabilities.
Okay. Next.
Oh, and also I wanted to make a comment with the handicap. I mean, there seems to be a lot of handicap people in the area, so there needs to be more spaces allotted than what's given.
You're
I
correct.
agree.
Especially when you have an older population, you will find that. That's correct.
Yeah.
And usually when we do the calculation, when the zoning office do calculation studies, the parking calculations, I meant, they also keep in mind handicap parking. So that's usually, yes, that's
No,
usually
to consider though, because we went through this with respect to human relations, you actually have to allow in Baltimore County a larger number of handicap spaces. Baltimore County has the second oldest population per capita in the United States outside of Miami Beach. So a lot of the standards that were developed by HUD and some other folks relative to the number of parking spaces, disability spaces, and so forth, were on general numbers. It didn't consider a population as generally old as Baltimore County's.
It is, because when you go to the Walmart on Randallstown, I can never get a handicap parking space. You know, my dad is handicapped, and so I just have to let him out. And even the amount of space there, it's just not enough. So I don't know what the percentage is, but it needs to be higher than what's allotted.
Do we have anybody from the zoning office who can speak in terms of parking calculation? Jeff?
Yeah, I'm here. Actually, the handicap parking is in the building code, not the zoning regulations, but we do keep it as part of the total parking count. So whatever number of handicap spaces they're required to have, they use the Maryland Handicap Code and other different.
That's what I'm saying. I know the code. What I'm saying is because we were forced to enforce that code, I know what the code is, but given the demographics of Baltimore County, it's higher than what the national standard says that code should be. That's what I'm saying. Because we have a much older population than average locations of this size in this community. We have the second oldest population in the United States outside of Miami Beach.
Okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure they follow the state regulations on handicap parking,
They do.
and whatever the state minimum is what they require from Baltimore County.
All right, so let's move on to design. The next picture, what do you like about this one, Miss Owens?
Well, it was similar to what we just we're talking about as far as the parking in the front. And I was
Okay.
thinking about the people with the disabilities and everything and how great that was. And I like the looks of that as well.
Okay.
For some of the shopping centers, I like that look, and it's bright because when you go into a shopping center and it's bright, it seems like it lifts your spirit or something. And like you getting ready to go, you feel like I can't wait to get in here and see what they have.
Mm-hmm. They have a lot of windows.
Yeah, but that's what I guess part of the reason why I like it, because I like the idea of having some parts of the building with 2 floors. It seems to accent the first floor.
Okay.
So I like that look, and then you know the curve right on at the end, and the same thing with this one. I was thinking of the same thing.
Okay.
And it
good.
seemed as though the parking was closer, but they didn't have it right in the front. But I liked the way they had the lights in the front.
Great. And I think that was the last picture you sent me. Thank you so much. And Miss Sheila, we're coming back to your pictures. So we already discussed this one on Walgreen. The next one, you discussed the signage, what you like about it in the landscaping strip. The next one here.
This picture, and I think the one that you will show next, is just a general design for Liberty Road. If we could do more of this in front of the shopping centers, where they have those benches. There is a bench where there's not necessarily a bus stop, but it's a bench to allow for people to relax. It's shaded with a tree there, and they need to incorporate that more in front of the shopping centers since they're doing that redesign, because they put the sidewalks in and people want to walk more frequently, but those stretches are so wide in between and so much sun. As they do these centers over again, to incorporate along the sidewalks benches for a setting. Also, we see a trash receptacle that would take care of some of the litter problems on Liberty Road, because that's the issue. A lot of these shopping centers, and I know one in particular at Essex Road and Liberty Road, they don't have any receptacles to collect trash so there's a litter problem. And to have the areas more walkable for people, that people do not mind walking if they want to get more exercise, to have the benches, the receptacles, and the trees for shading. And I think the next slide is just another example.
What do you see missing from that picture? And that one? What do you see missing?
I see people missing.
No, you don't see, and I brought this up the very first meeting, you don't see the telephone wiring going overhead across the road, which is up and down Liberty Road and makes it look unsightly. In fact, you only have poles on one side of the road. You don't have that unsightliness in this picture or the next picture that you see up and down Liberty Road because of telephone poles.
Well, the point you make is good, and I don't know, as they redesign the parking, these shopping centers, that they will require that they bury the utilities. There can be a requirement that they bury utilities, and I guess at some point, when enough of them are buried, they'll just go on and put the rest of them underground. But that's a good point to say, as they do this redevelopment, that when they come in with their utilities, they bury them and not just tie into what's above ground.
Okay, good.
Oh, I wanted to mention about this picture. Oh, back to the other picture with the cover, that I guess the little cover part. I don't know what you call that, but that needs to be, I think, on every bus stop as well.
The shelters?
That underground cover or the undercover for when people are waiting for the bus.
The kiosk.
Yeah.
Okay, so this will be on Liberty Road. It will be done by MTA. Any bus stop with shelters is the stage.
And I think it'd be great if they would coordinate the design, that if a person is catching a bus, public transportation, to a shopping center, that when that bus stop is near that shopping center, that the shopping designer incorporates seating, shade, so that when their shoppers come out from finished shopping to catch the bus, they have someplace comfortable and inviting to sit and wait for the bus. I think to just say we do this and you do that, I think there needs to be a little bit more coordination about that whole thing so that it's a good experience for the people in the area when they go shopping and if they have to use public transportation.
Very good. Any other comments? Miss Sheila, what do you like about this one?
I think that's just generally the same kind of idea, but there's one thing I like to point out about this is that I think that's why I put it, the trash receptacles. Quite often in these shopping centers, on the perimeters, they don't have, even sometimes within the centers themselves, outside, they don't have enough trash receptacles. And when they get full, then you get the litter problem. And I think that's really, really important to incorporate more of that, again, with the bench, and that's design. I think this is the shopping center where the Ollie's used to be. And the thing that I liked was how they had the wide enough grass area for a bench to be there, and the trees and the bushes that just make that little spot attractive. But if you look at the whole area, it wouldn't look that way. But just that little spot, that idea, there needs to be more incorporating of that kind of thing in the designs.
Right, but it needs to be better tended and more attractive planting and shrubbery and things.
I agree with you, and I think that's an opportunity to incorporate more flowers and that kind of thing in the design. And I think someone mentioned about the trees, a variety of trees, because in the fall, in the winter, these will be bare because they're deciduous, but to have some evergreen trees so that even in the winter months, you will still have the greenery. So there's just to be a better thought into the planning to increase and make the attractive, the landscaping.
I think they should actually take a look at getting someone, hiring them year round, and getting the money. Two ways I'm thinking about is if you hire someone year round, they have a salary. That's their job to keep this up. When you see that happen in the shopping centers, they have someone that they are either paying to take care of them yearly, or they build that into the fee that they charge the renters, and they take that fee and hire them. So if you don't have someone that maintaining that every day, you don't have to worry about going to someone and trying to get somebody from your store to go out and get it, and fining people for not doing it. If you did it in the front, everybody would be happy, and you wouldn't have to worry about that because you got someone. They have people that they're hiring, and they're making money, and they'll have a job, and they'll take care of that. But the ones that you do see where they don't have that problem, that's what's happening.
Right. Can you imagine if that whole expanse of ground was covered with beautiful flowers and walls and architectural stones? That would be gorgeous because there's enough land there. But as it is, it's, and then the bushes aren't shaped.
I'm sorry. This is Devon. I'd have to make one little comment. Shopping centers aren't, it does need to be included, I guess, with their proposal that they need to have somebody to clean or maintenance and everything, because they're not doing it now, because I have volunteered with Speaker of the House, Adrian Jones. She does this 4 times a year, cleaning up Liberty Road. And we're cleaning up, picking up debris and trash in the parking lots and along Liberty Road. So they're not doing it right now, but they need to be, and that needs to be a part of their proposal. They need to make money for that, because that is ridiculous that we as a community have to go around cleaning up, you know, property that they should already be taking care of themselves, really.
I agree with you 100%. And like I said, there is a shopping center on Liberty Road where the community residents actually put up bags for people to put trash in, because the shopping center itself does not have trash receptacles. In these designs, they need to put trash receptacles. They talk about all the trash, but there is no place for the trash to go. They don't have the trash receptacles there within the shopping center. It's overrun, and then the receptacles that are there become full. And then they said, well, that should be the county's responsibility. But if that receptacle is in that shopping center, it's that shopping center responsibility and not the county's. And these centers do not have receptacles in their centers so that they don't have to empty them. They just put them on the outside and say, well, the county has to do that. They do not allow for enough trash receptacles to keep the litter down.
Right. Understand.
So that's wonderful. I have made notes of all your comments. I have to move on now because it's past our time. So I just wanted to introduce Jessica Normington. She's with the Department of Economic and Workforce Development. She's going to update us on what work she's been doing to get the business owners to be part of this study, to the part of this effort.
Hi, everybody. I'll keep this pretty brief, but I'm in the midst of working with most of the property owners or leasing managers to kind of get a list of the tenants in all the shopping centers to try to gather their information to include them on a virtual meeting that we can show them what we've come up with so far. I'm also working with Kelly over at the Liberty Road Business Association, also helping me to gather the names and numbers and emails, so we can do that in the coming weeks.
And I just want to add that in the beginning of the study, we did send out letters to all the property owners in the study area to let them know about, the effort that we are doing. But this time we just wanted to do more, having more interactions with them so that they are really part of this effort and know what's going on. Especially that we will have a public online engagement meeting coming up next, either in the month of February or early March. So having said that, I want to share with you the next step for this study. Jessica, do you want to add anything else?
Nope, that's all I got for now.
Okay.
I'll keep everyone informed.
Okay, thank you. So the next steps for the Liberty Road DRP area and design guidelines. So we started the kickoff in September. We gave you an overview of the study and told you what the goal was about. So since then we've been holding group meetings. So this is our third and unfortunately final one. In the meantime, we show you a conceptual design of what one of the shopping center could look like if it was developed based on the ideas and the suggestions that we received so far. So the next step will be to hold an online engagement with the public to keep them up to date, keep them inform them of what we've been doing, and also show them the design options that we have come up so far in terms of architecture, signage, and landscaping. And then we'll give them some time to get their feedback, tell us what they like or don't like about what we have so far. So then we're gonna start drafting the plan. and we will give you an opportunity to review that draft and provide any edit before we finalize the plan. And then after we finalize the plan, the next step will be to send it towards Councilman Jones so that he could introduce the DRP resolution and finally adopt the design guideline.
But you are going to have that person take a good look at Quarry Lake and see the general atmosphere there, because I think most people are satisfied with what they have that we don't have.
Correct. I have made note of that. Are there any other comments, any questions?
Just one thing, and this is probably more towards the business. If it seems like the shopping areas or commerce areas, rather than just call them shopping areas, seem to be when there's multi-functional type of businesses, not just all stores, but if there are some offices or banks or something, when it's multifunctional, other than just store, they seem to just be more attractive because of the different variety of businesses. If they could think about that when they talk about designs and filling up these shopping centers, it's not just store. A eating shop, a pizza shop,
services, mixed use.
Right, yeah, mixed use. I think it makes it much more attractive if they could think about that in the future.
I get your point, but hopefully by making these shopping centers more attractive, we can attract, like more use inside the shopping centers other than just stores, like you said.
And I think some of the things we said about the more the benches, the lighting, when we talk about the trees and the shrubs and the flowers, when it's attractive like that, then another type of business might not mind putting their office there because it is attractive.
Right. Well, the work is not done yet. I want to thank you all for your involvement in this effort. Like I said, we'll have an online engagement next month. In the meantime, I'll send you the information and ask that you please share the information so we get public feedback. And then after the feedback and we start drafting the plan, you'll get more opportunities to review and edit.
Excuse me, I have one last question.
Okay.
I know these are designs and these are going to be suggestions and guidelines for development in the future. Well, how does that impact, for example, a franchise for a national chain? For example, if, when the Walgreens built at Milford Mill, it's the same Walgreens design that you can see anywhere. So you naturally will recognize a Walgreens store. But fortunately, their design does go in and does work well with the design in that area. But with these guidelines, how would they impact like a national chain? Would they have to comply with the guidelines, or do they say this is our signature design and this is what we stay with?
So again, the design guidelines that we're gonna draft will be for the 8 shopping centers in our study area. So the 8 shopping centers, we're talking about design in general for the general look of the shopping center, not for like individual looks. If, for example, 70 or 80% of the stores inside the shopping centers are a mix of bricks and stone, I think we have, we met our goal. In terms of like the national chain, like you said, they already have a unique look. We haven't been we haven't thought about making them, or the design guidelines I don't think will make them change the way they look already because it's already national. But if it just change the overall look of the shopping center, I think the goal is reached. Have I answered your question?
Yes, I think you did because, for example, even if they had their unique look, the fact that we're asking them to incorporate more green space, the fact we're asking them to incorporate flowers, they could probably incorporate that without saying, "Okay, I have to change my unique look." We're asking
Right. So
for those kind of things. I got it.
yes, yes. Any other questions? Any other comments? Well, if not, thank you so much. I will send you a copy of this presentation. And again, once the minutes are done, I will send you also a copy. And we'll let you know about the next meeting for the online engagement. Thank you. Be safe and stay healthy.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mildred Owens.
Has left the meeting. A participant has left the meeting.